My firm belief experientially that in order to tap into happiness more often, you have to have a broad view of sacredness. Taking things for granted, not seeing the deeper picture, the spiritual revelation in situations will cause you to be deeply and profoundly unhappy. Okay. But when we look at life as sacred, meaning connected to God and deserving reverence, then we get a different kind of experience. Does that make sense? So, for example, if you're talking to someone, when you're talking to someone, if you believe that communication is sacred, then you're going to handle it a certain way. If you believe that you are sacred, you're going to handle yourself a certain way. If you believe that others are sacred, you're going to handle others a certain way. Can we talk more about that? Because without sacredness, you think things are unnecessary. Without sacredness, you do not have high value, respect, or regard for things and people. Without sacredness, there's no veneration, right? So everything and anything that happens in your world and my world is sacred. Hey, user 05. Connected with God and deserving of veneration or respect. Okay. So I question whether or not we see things as sacred when we get real reactive. I question whether or not we see things as sacred when we lean into frequencies like failure, shame, and guilt. But even failure, shame, and guilt experiences are sacred. The whole reason I've discovered for being here in this experience, in this dimension, is to evolve, is evolution. That is the reason. So when we ask why this or why that, then we have an answer, which is evolution. And evolution is a sacred process, it's a deep spiritual process, right? And regardless of what your religious belief is, it would behoove you to see it this way so that you can extract nuggets and bring yourself into a space of wellness and happiness no matter what is going on. Now, I don't think you're going to be joyful no matter what. No. And you shouldn't be joyful no matter what. But what you should be able to do, right, is tap into joy when you want to. I don't think you're going to be in excitement all the time. But what you need to be able to do, not should, what you need to be able to do as creator of your reality is tap into it when you want to. Because if you cannot tap into it when you want to, then we're talking about a disempowered existence. What you think? I want to know what you think about that. And if you believe that your experiences are deeply sacred, then you know that other people's experiences are deeply sacred, deserving of respect, connected to God. If you believe that you are God and you believe that others are God and you see yourself as God and you see them as God, then you can allow their experience to be what they create within them. And also allow yourself to create your own experiences. And the way to do that is through understanding that everything has a purpose and everything is for you. Nothing is against you, not even one person. Hey, Cassandra, can you hear that? Not even one person is against you. They are against ideas. In fact, most of them haven't even seen you. You haven't even seen yourself in a lot of cases. What you am I talking about? I'm talking about the eternal, indestructible you. They're not against that you. They're against the you, the part of you that has ideas that they don't like, or behaviors that they don't like, goes places that they don't like, does things they don't like. And the same with you. You are not in dislike of a person. My hair is stuck. Hold on. Is this making sense? So, not one person is against you. They're thinking thoughts, they're saying things. You're interpreting that as good or bad, right, wrong. You're feeling good about it or not. But that doesn't mean they're against you. And I think you need to come away from that interpretation. I also think, to a great extent, most people need to come away from the interpretation of they don't care. Because if they did, they would do this. I think we need to come off of that too. Thank you, Cassandra. If they wanted to, they would. I think you need to come off of that as well. Because if you don't, you're going to end up with pain, because that's what those statements develop. Pain creates suffering and cultivates suffering, right? So their opinion is sacred. How they choose to create with their time is sacred. Does that mean that they don't care about you? No, it means they're on a frequency that you don't desire. Does it mean they don't love you? Not necessarily. It means that they're on a frequency that you don't desire to be on. And they're in a vibration that you don't want to plug into. You want another vibration. I'm talking about how to experience happiness when you want to. Because with the thoughts that I'm telling you that need to go, you are a slave to those thoughts. Hey, dancing priestess. You're a slave to those thoughts. When you think those thoughts, you cannot help but feel suffering. And then you got to work your way out of the suffering that you created with them. You get it? A lot of times you are not healing from what happened. You're healing from your interpretation of what happened and your thoughts about what happened. And if you know that, it's a matrix moment. If you know that, then you begin to be empowered to tap into things like happiness, peace, joy, contentment, and things when you want to. I'm cooking. But if you think those thoughts are your reality, you will create with them. And I guarantee you, you're not going to be feeling good. Hey, Lion, you're not going to be feeling good. I'm talking to some people who care about how they feel. We're talking about happiness, feelings of wellness, and contentment. It reminds me of a scripture. I'm going to pull it up real quick for you. Y'all let me know how you're doing. I'm cooking, right? Here we go. You're welcome, Cassandra. We're talking about happiness and tapping into it when we want to. That means, number one, I mentioned the word sacred. You got to see life as sacred, people as sacred, ideas as sacred, experiences as sacred. Sacred means connected to God and deserving veneration. It doesn't say you got to like it. Number two, you got to understand that nobody is against you. Nobody. They are against your ideas, but you are not your ideas. They may be against your lifestyle, but you're not your lifestyle. I got to ask you, what do you think you are if you're closely identifying with this, such that you get so upset because someone doesn't feel the way that you want them to feel about you, or they don't think how you want them to think about you, or they don't see you a particular way. Do you know what you are? Because if you think you're your ideas, then you will say they're rejecting you. I'm going to help somebody real quick. Rejection is not real unless you believe it's real, unless you interpret things as rejection. Otherwise, it does not exist. It's a frequency that comes from an interpretation. But if you closely identify with your ideas and your labels and your words and things like that. When someone comes against that or says no to it or says, I don't like it, you're going to say, they rejected me. Now you got a fear of rejection that you developed. Did you hear me? I said you developed it. You are so powerful that you can create your own fears. And someone said to me a while back, I was live and I said, rejection is not real. And they said, yes, it is. And I said, Ashe, because that's sacred. You got to feel that there's rejection for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I honor it. I'm talking to some people who see that your interpretations create that frequency. And if you don't want that frequency, you got to change what you believe and how you see and stop identifying with your ideas and values and lifestyles and preferences. Right? Yeah. I don't like some things that some people do. I don't like some things that they say. But I know it's well within their realm to do it because they are the power in their own reality. They can build up and tear down. They can destroy and give birth. They can do it. Now, what are you creating with your empowerment within? And where are you not creating but blaming someone else for being a particular way? We're talking about wellness. We're talking about contentment, feelings of happiness. How do you keep a consistent space of it? Or how do you tap into it when you want to? Well, you got to remove the things that make you a slave to suffering. You really have to. And some people don't want to because they want to continue to go the route that they're going and they feel justified. And I get it. I've been there. But what I've learned, okay, is what I'm telling you. So let me look up this verse real quick. It says, we're talking about self-empowerment, okay? So if you're watching, I am not a Christian. However, I do enjoy reading spiritual scriptures and such. If you're more fortunate than others, build a long table, not a high fence. Okay. Thoughts and words are definitely energy. Definitely energy. So here we are, Philippians 4th chapter, 11 through 13. I have learned the secret of being content, whatever the circumstances. Y'all ready? If someone tells me they learned a secret, I got to find out what the secret is. What is it? Tell me. I know what it is to be in need. Do you? I've experienced that because sometimes people look at me and they be like, she preaching, but she never experienced. You have no idea what I've been through in my life. And I'm telling you, I know what it's like to be in need. And I know what it's like to have plenty too. Right? I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength, self-empowerment. I can. That's the secret. I can tap into contentment when I want to. Can you? And if you can't, it's time to learn. It's a skill that you need. It's a spiritual practice that will benefit you much. Can you tap into wellness, contentment, and happiness when you want? Or do you struggle and fight? I can. Do you struggle and fight? Do you kick against what's true because you're offended, because you're identifying with some thought or idea? I encourage you to stop it. I'm speaking to you from wisdom. Open your ears to hear it and enlarge your eyes to see. It does not benefit you in no kind of way. Thank you, Pam. Thank you for that. It doesn't benefit you in any kind of way to give your attention to things that take you down. What's taking you down? Your offenses, your grudges, the resentment and the bitterness. Am I saying it doesn't matter? Nope, it does matter. Because everything has an effect. and it has affected you. And that effect is sacred. And so the question is, now that the ripple is there, the wrinkle in time is there, the effect is there, what are you going to do to bring yourself in resonance with truth? What are you going to do? What's in your power? You might not know. You might need some help. Hey, gift basket. Your Hey, flower, your difficulties. Listen, I'm not giving you a cliche. I'm telling you what's true. Your difficulties can be your greatest source of empowerment if you let it. You know that song that says, I'll love you like I've never ever loved someone. I'll give you things you never even know you wanted. If you let me, you are empowered to take this in and walk away and do something with it. Or you could say, she don't understand. Well, what about this and what about that? You could. You could. So let me read now. Let me pause. Does this make sense? We're talking about happiness and tapping into it when you want. You need the ability to push your own contentment button, your own wellness button, your own happiness button. You need that. And if you don't have it, you need to get it. I offer coaching if you want coaching. We can work through your particular situation if you want to. I have a mentorship program where I encourage you to think deeply about things that I post and talk about. I recently did a past life regression. I recently did a sit with the shadows ritual, right? So if you want to go deeper, deeper is there, but you got to be convinced that this is a sacred experience that you're having. So now, let me read from the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Listen. Y'all listening? Say yes or no. Y'all here to stay or y'all gonna jump in and out? Which one? Talk to me. All right. Yes. So let's continue. I don't think I don't think we can ever hear too much about being happy. Do you? You had enough of it? You know how to do it? You're masterful at it? How to control the mind and obstruct those thoughts that we don't want. It's a rare conversation. I have a whole series that I put on YouTube, but it's private. I'm thinking about releasing it on deactivating your triggers. You need that. So I think I'm going to make it public. Okay, here we go. The best way, he says, let me show you Patanjali. No, actually, that's Swami Sachidananda. That's not Patanjali. That's Swami. But he's talking about Patanjali. Here we go. The best way, when any kind of teacher, expert on a topic that I'm interested in says the best way, my ears perk up. When they say this is super important, my ears perk up. If they say this is essential, my ears perk up. He says the best way to control the mind and obstruct thoughts that we don't want is to invite opposite thoughts. Now, if you're really intense, you're probably not going to be able to invite an opposite thought, but you can take a baby step. So let's continue. If the thought of hatred is in the mind, we can invite the thought of love. He didn't even say think it, he said invite it. That's why I said during the month of Purify Your Speech, I said, we're not going to walk around saying, I'm tired. Hey, Kingdom, what's up? We're going to say, I invite more rest. It's dynamic. We're not going to say, oh, I don't have the energy. I invite more energy to get this task done. You are the creator of your reality. I am tired. Then you are, Ashe. You are that. I am inviting more love into my world. I am inviting beautiful communication. I am inviting more honesty. We're not going to say people don't know how to be honest. Thank you, Shug. People don't know how to be honest. People don't know. I'm inviting more honesty. And if in your world people don't know how to be honest, then you must be reflecting that by entertaining it. You must be vibrating on that frequency. Now, we're going to draw all kinds of vibrations because we have all kinds of vibrations within us. Okay? So you're going to draw some people who are not ready to be honest with you or themselves. And you're going to draw some people who are super honest. But guess what? Let me let this truck pass. And I hope I don't forget the thought because it's profound. In fact, I invite myself to remember this thought because it's profound. You see that right there? If you vibrate on a certain frequency, you will entertain that frequency. Why are you going back and forth with people who don't know how to be honest? And then if you do that too much, you begin to be suspicious of people because you think people don't know how to be honest. So then an honest person will come and you don't even know that frequency. You're on the frequency of suspicion and dishonesty. A person will come in and mean the best to you and you won't know it because you don't vibrate on that frequency. You want to. I invite myself to remember the thought and I remember it. It's simple as being attentive to what we are saying. And you can see even I am programmed with the same programs you are. However, I'm intentional all day long about how I see things. You see, you got to see things a certain way to say things a certain way. Okay? I'm going to forget this thought because you know I have ADD and my mind be all over the place. I used to say that about myself under my own curse. Now I can't come out of ADD because I keep giving it as the reason. Not understanding that I can open my mind and invite. Okay? So the best way, he says, to control the mind and obstruct thoughts that we don't want is to invite opposite thoughts. There's your spiritual practice. You're no longer going to be a slave to negative experiences. You're no longer going to be a slave to other people's opinions and your interpretations of them. Number one, because you don't identify with words and ideas. That is not you. That word and idea existed before you and it's going to exist after you. That's not you. You can go in my profile. I have the book on my Amazon storefront. You are no longer going to identify with the things that get you bothered. You're not. You're going to have to release that if you want to be happy. But see, what I understand is from my personal experience is if you've never done that, that's kind of like a scary thing because what if I start thinking opposite thoughts and I take my mind off of the bad thing? Won't they do it again? Won't it happen again? Some people use negativity as protection. They rather be suspicious than face the possibility of someone not being honest. Yes, I'm going to put it on YouTube. My YouTube channel is Coach Veronica Marie. I want you to understand that you are not this body. This body is part of your dense experience here. But you're not your body. And you're definitely not words about your body. And that's where you got to come into a strong sense of identity with you that is indestructible, infinite spirit. KRS-One did he did a exercise once, and I'm gonna do it here. Have y'all watched KRS-One? He's really good with his talks about spirit. I love them. They're so true. So he held up a word, and I'm gonna hold up this word. Look at the Yoga Sutras. The Yoga Sutras. Okay. Now close your mouth, and without vibrating your vocal cords. I know, so deep. I would love to talk to him. I love talking to people like that who think so deeply about life. Let me tell you this before we start. You got to get around some people who see life deeply. Because if you don't, you're going to create misalignment. They're going to be saying you're too deep, and you're going to be feeling like they're not deep enough. If there's someone in your life who you feel is not deep enough, I want you to honor their life path and call it sacred. That means you're going to take your mind off of it. That means you're going to take your judgment off of how they live their life and their decisions. And you have to be convinced that you have never seen them. How I know you never seen them? Because you're only talking about the experience. But have you seen the eternal, indestructible part of them? And do you live by and with that part? Or do you just judge? They doing this and they doing that, and it's a shame. And anybody talking like that, and anybody whose head is moving like this, is in a frequency of contraction. I'm serious. Okay? So, Yoga Sutras. Close your mouth, and without vibrating, if somebody start moving their head like that, I already know that's a frequency that I don't want to be on, so I'm going to exit. Listen, okay, Yoga Sutras. Yoga Sutras. Close your mouth, and without saying it, say to yourself, Yoga Sutras. Say it to yourself without vibrating the air. Did you hear yourself say Yoga Sutras? Did you know that you said it? Because somebody is going to say, no, I didn't hear it. Did you know you said it? You didn't vibrate vocal cords. Your body didn't say it. But you said it. What is the you? That's what I'm trying to lead you to. You are the one that hears what is said. You're not even the one who's saying it. You can hear without sound. You can see without eyes. You can know without being told. That is you. So when you say someone doesn't like you, they've never seen you. How can they not like you? But that's because you identify with labels and such. You think that's you. And if they come against your label or your opinion or idea, you get real upset and all in your feelings. Like they said it's an opinion. And you are God in the body getting upset about someone's opinion that can change tomorrow. You know how many people have told me in my life, I didn't like you when I first met you. I thought you were this and I thought you were that. Preconceived ideas. But I love you. You're so down to earth. You're so warm. You're so easy to talk to. That's what they end up saying. But they were convinced of their reality that I was whatever they were thinking. That's not my business. Maybe I am some of the things that they were thinking. Maybe I'm none of it. I don't know. That's how they want to create. When you want to judge others and think negatively of others and put your energy on contracting against others and their ideas, it's saying that you like that. In other words, you have an affinity for that frequency. That's why you keep doing it. But when you realize that you don't feel good when you're doing it and you begin to care about how you feel, then you want to create something else. You're the one that heard it. We're so busy trying to get people to see our ideas and understand our point to the extent that we bring in anxiety and depression, even. They don't see me. They don't know me. They don't value me. They don't acknowledge me. The whole while you don't even know what me you're talking about because the stuff you're talking about isn't even you. It's not you. And this is a deep revelation. And I don't want you to just sit here and go, yeah, yeah. I want you to breathe that in. Okay? Let me continue reading. The best way, he says, is to invite opposite thoughts. If the thought of hatred is in the mind, we can try to bring in or invite the thought of love. If we can't do that, we can at least go to the people we love and in their presence forget hatred. I do that. I do that. I have some experience. The experience is not really the frequency that I wanted to achieve. While I'm working on my thoughts, I'll go sit down with my daughter and plug into her good energy. I will shift my vibration by talking and listening to souls who are expanded and inspired. Once I feel expanded again, then I can bring myself into a different thought pattern concerning that thing. I'll go on YouTube and find a video that's the frequency I want to hear. I will call my coach. I will plug into a program with people who think on the frequency that I want to be on. And I will sit there. Listen, I am not too proud, too sensitive in my ego to say, hey, I need some support. Because right now I'm alchemizing something and it doesn't feel good. And I know I can't alchemize it in contraction. I need to come out of contraction. So I'm going to get around some people who are not contracted. If you are around a lot of people who are contracted and you are contracted, it's going to be hard to come out of that web of contraction. That's why I create communities so that people can have the ability to plug into mindsets and ideas that are expanded. We're talking about happiness. You're welcome. We're talking about happiness. We're talking about feelings of wellness and tapping into it when you want to, not being dragged along by life. Let me give you a spiritual truth. This is one of my favorite scriptures. Hold on. It's Ecclesiastes, 3rd chapter. Hold on. When I want to shift, I'm looking for truth. I'm not attached to suffering in no kind of way. Hey, babe, I'm not attached to suffering in no kind of way. So let me tell you what I know. This is what I know about life. Okay? There's a time for everything. Ecclesiastes 3rd chapter. There's a time for everything. Thank you, Bianca. And a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to do the opposite, to transition. A time to plant and a time to uproot. Thank you, babe. A time to kill and a time to heal. Ooh, I just heard something. 50% of my life goal has been met, it said. Thank you. I'm hearing crowds right now. Do you hear that? Do y'all hear it? Thank you. A time to plant and a time to uproot. A time to kill and a time to heal. Thank you. A time to tear down and a time to build. A time to weep and a time to laugh. a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to borrow, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to do the opposite, a time for war and a time for peace. What do workers gain from their toil? You're toiling, twisting and turning, contorting, creating suffering and contention within yourself while the people you're thinking about are minding their own business in their own world, creating whatever. What do workers gain from their toil? I have seen the burden God has laid on the human race, self empowerment. I've seen the need for that. God has made everything beautiful in its time, and he has set eternity in the human heart. God has made everything beautiful in its time. You know what word comes to mind? Absolutely. You know what word comes to mind? Namaste. God has made everything beautiful in its time. You know what word comes to mind? Sacred. Connected to God and deserving of veneration or respect or high regard. All of this stuff that I just mentioned, every vibration, every frequency is sacred. And you need to tap into the higher frequencies. You need to be able to when you want to. Otherwise, your happiness is going to depend on who's saying what, who's not doing what, who is there, who is not there. If it's raining or shining, you're going to be tossed to and fro like every wave on the sea. Every experience is sacred and necessary. So you can stop judging. It's sacred. Just say it's sacred. Take your mind off of it. Honor it. Refuse to diminish other people's way of being. But you can say, this is not a frequency I want to be on. This is not the way I want to vibrate in relation to someone else. And every time, let me tell you this, every time you say, I don't want to vibrate on this frequency, you need to come behind it and say what frequency you want to vibrate on. I decline this frequency. The frequency and vibration I want to be on is that of, and you need to say that, freedom, liberation, joy, inspiration. So when you see someone doing something or being something some way that you don't like, you don't have to tolerate it. Patanjali just said the best way is to invite the opposite. You're sitting there and you're with a negative type of energy, invite the opposite and look for it. And look for the opposite while you're alchemizing the thing. Understand that every way you feel, every single way you feel is a result of your own creation. I didn't say everything that people do. I said every way that you feel about what people do is your creation. And if you want happiness and you want true empowerment, you have to take ownership of that. Nobody's making you feel nothing, and nothing is making you feel nothing. You have an interpretation about the thing, and that's what is causing your feeling. I've said this recently, and I'll say it again. You build things up in importance, and you tear things down and erase their importance. You do that. So let me ask you this. What kind of frequency do you enjoy vibrating on? I just listed the ones that I enjoy. I enjoy openness. I enjoy flow. I enjoy ease. I enjoy freedom. I enjoy self-expression. I enjoy inspiration. I enjoy bliss and enjoyment. Name it and invite it. And I invite that. I invite more and more of it. And I have eyes to see it. You also have to have eyes that see it. But if you walk around interpreting your world like, oh, everywhere I go is something. Oh, this world is such and such. Oh, these people are this and that. Then that's what you have eyes to see. And that's the experiences that you create. I always know where a person is creating from by how they're interpreting experiences, whether the vibration is low or otherwise. If we can't invite the opposite thought, and you can all, let me tell you this, you can always invite an opposite thought. You might not always be able to tap into the opposite thought yet, but you can invite it. It's simple as saying, I feel like this right now, but I invite more ease. I feel like this right now, but I invite and call forward more groundedness. Where is your empowerment if you think that you are a slave to other people's actions and you have to feel like that and you have to interpret it like that? Where's your empowerment? Are you tired of experiencing the same thing the same way over and over and over again? I saw a video yesterday that said, what you're not changing, you're choosing. And that could preach. Say that to yourself. Think about the thing you dislike the most right now. What you are not changing, you're choosing. You can take a baby step, and a baby step is a big step. You can begin by saying, this is sacred, and I invite more ease. This is a sacred experience. I didn't say you have to stay in every sacred experience, because some frequencies you have grown out of. I know myself, I've grown out of a lot of frequencies. It's some stuff that just feel wrong for me. It's not right for me. And therefore, when I come into that frequency, I have to decide, yes, this is sacred. Yes, this is the other person's experience, or this is the way it is right now. But I am vibrating on this frequency and I choose to connect there. I choose to connect on higher frequencies because I'm more creative there, because I'm happier there, because I heal there, because I grow there. And connecting with people on those frequencies help enhance my ability to tap in there. Okay. Now, these are not my words. Patanjali said it. Sometimes we see this work between married partners. Let's talk about that. When the sparks fly between them, if their little one crawls up to them, what will happen? Those of us who have had this experience will immediately know the sparks cool down. They cool down for a second. Either the mother or the father picks up and hugs the child. That's because they love the baby. In the form of a child, love comes in, and the anger or hatred is banished temporarily. Because once you plug back into it, you can put that baby to sleep and you're going to go right back to it. We can create a positive atmosphere by looking at a holy picture. That's why some of y'all need some altars, because you need to be reminded of sacredness. There was a whole period of time in my world where I wore a bindi, right there, a black bindi. And people would go, why is she wearing that? Why is she wearing that? It was reminding me of the frequency that I needed to stay on. Every time I looked in the mirror, every time I looked in the camera. And even now, when I see those videos, it reminds me of that frequency, right? Of empowerment, of being the God of my reality. You need some things to look at to remind you of your frequency. Maybe it's a body adornment. Maybe it's a picture. Maybe it's a creation, something you create. You need that. We can create a positive atmosphere by looking at a holy picture, by reading an inspiring book, by meeting with a special person, or by leaving the disturbing environment. Sometimes you got to walk away. Because just because you don't want to be on a frequency doesn't mean the other person isn't attached to it. If they're attached to the frequency, you could try to stay there and vibrate as much as you want to, and you might vibrate high, but they're going to keep tempting you to go lower. So sometimes you do have to leave. You have to walk away. You have to say not today, not right now. Hold on one second. Because I don't want my phone to overheat. Hey, Michelle. Michelle, where you been? Listen, I don't want that Aries energy to come and mess up. Let me know when I'm back. Did y'all notice that when Michelle, am I back? Did y'all notice that when Michelle came in, the phone rang? Let me turn on Do Not Disturb.